Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks so much for joining us. Retirement, whether it's in the Philippines for an expat, whether you're American, Australian, British, no matter where you're from, retirement needs to be on your terms, not on other people's terms. You know what? Let's talk about that for just a few minutes because I'm a little dismayed. Thanks.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay. So, you know what? I was watching YouTube the other day and having some conversations with some friends. And one of the things that came out really and truly was all of these expats telling you how to retire, where to live, how to live, the type of life to lead. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, is it them that's deciding how I'm going to retire? Or these YouTubers or others, even it doesn't even have to be YouTubers, are other people going to decide or influence how I retire? And I can tell you right now, don't let them do that. Is it wrong to watch other people giving advice about how they retired? No, not at all. In fact, it's probably, other than the bullshit ones, it's probably advisable. All right. Every bit of information helps. But I would say, you know, the first thing to keep in mind is that if you need help figuring out how you want to retire, and when I say how, I don't mean financially, I mean the specifics. Well, you may not be ready to retire. Number two, there are so many different things about retirement. Um, you know, how I live my life is never going to be how somebody else's probably. I imagine, with millions of people, I imagine there are others, but how I live my life is going to be vastly different than most. Just like how they live their life is going to be vastly different than most. And what I say is, when I say that, people can live pretty much anywhere, modestly, minimalistically. All right. They can live as simple as a life as they want. But is it really simple? Is it just more of what they want? Like for instance, my mother lives an incredibly simple life. Um, Her joy is gardening around, even at 80 some odd years old. All right, 84, 85 now, going on 86. All right. She still likes to get out in her little flower garden. She still likes to grow tomatoes. All right. She has a very simple life. That's not a bad life. That's her choice. Okay. Just like there are people here in the Philippines, and it could be elsewhere, that have very simple lives. And then there are people with incredibly complex lives. And that's how they choose to retire, to chastise another retired individual or somebody that wants to retire. For instance, is it right? All right. I mean, if you put away all of your your individual blinders, all right, and open your mind, all right, is it right to chastise, to to put down people that live life differently than you do? just because they choose to do so, just because they can, just because that's what they want. Did you ever think that what you want, they could just as easily use the same arguments to put down yours? I don't think so. I think what happens is that letting others tell you how you need to retire, how you need to live, what you need to spend your money on. If you are such a nanny boy that you need that, you're not ready to, definitely not ready to move to a foreign country to retire. If you need that much guidance, you're not ready. Not that you can't, but simply that you're not ready. You need to understand that you're going to set aside so much money every month to live off of. And that's going to be your budget. Then you're going to have your expenses. And can you keep your expenses in that budget? Now, there are tons of people out there that are going to tell you what their expenses are so you can get general ideas. But more so, you can come to that country, whether it's the Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, wherever. All right. And you can get your feet wet on the ground and decide, hey, this is what it takes. All right. For me to eat. This is what it takes for me to live the way I want to live. I don't give a shit. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. We have a couple trolls that absolutely despise how we live. They are absolutely incensed by it. They don't like it. They feel it's a foolish waste of money. They feel it's an expense that shouldn't be. They feel whatever it is they want to feel. Okay. More power to them. They're entitled to feel that way. Just like I could sit there and say, I think you're a cheap bastard, or I think you're spending way too much money. I think, you're this or that. But no, doing that is a tit for tat of different opinions and different needs and different desires. I can't chastise people for how they live their lives. I mean, I look at a couple of different things. Is it legal? That's the first thing. I don't look at the morality to begin with. I look at, is it legal? All right. Are they living within the letter of the law, both what they're subjected to as their own country and within here in the Philippines? Okay. Is it legal? Then I look at the morality of it. Is it moral? That is so difficult to absolutely define because it's an individual acceptance. You may sit there and say it's morally wrong to eat meat. Okay. I mean, I'm just using a very basic argument. You should only be a vegetarian and therefore you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Eating that burger is, you're killing animals. The morality issue depends on you and on them and what they agree with. And I'm not knocking vegetarian. I was just trying to look for an example. Okay. But when you allow others to dictate how you're going to live your life, what is best for you, what it is that you need in life, you're just absolutely going the wrong direction. Don't let others dictate how you retire. All right. Let your common sense, your ideology, and your finances dictate how you're going to retire, where you're going to retire. All right. Because if you don't do that, you're not ready to retire in a foreign country. You certainly just are not. I don't know. Do other people influence the way you retire? All right. And excluding your partner. if indeed you have one. Excluding them, because that's a whole different story. But excluding them, do others dictate how you're going to retire and what's acceptable and not acceptable retirement? Do you really pay attention to that shit? I don't know. Otherwise, we hope you have a great day. Be safe. The holidays are here. Happy holidays.